All right. Week 5 of being fully self-employed. I almost said unemployed again. I need to get that out of my head. But this is the 6-month podcast series where I'm diving into all of the things of being fully self-employed after leaving my 9-to-5 and figuring out what are we going to do to continue building the beautiful Empowered by Women community. What am I going to do to keep bringing my revenue up so that I can continue to remain self-employed and just do all the things that I know lights me up and brings me joy, and I know that I was meant to do. So in this podcast series, I'm taking you behind the scenes on the systems that I'm putting into place, the strategies that I have, what I'm currently working on, and all of the mindsets, things that go along with not only being an entrepreneur, but being one that is fully relying on it to bring me some income so I can take care of this family, this beautiful family in my house. So I am hoping the volume, the sound sounds okay. I realized, for one, this computer that I'm using is my partner's computer, and it's a gaming computer, and whenever it's plugged in, the fan goes crazy and it's so loud. So I did test it out slightly, and I feel like I didn't hear the fan. So hopefully when this episode gets posted, you will also not hear the fan and you will just hear my voice telling you all the things. But I also realized, because this is a gaming computer, its camera, oh my gosh, is so like freaking good. I used to have this plug-in webcam camera, and I would use that, and then one day I had it unplugged, and then I just used the camera from the computer, and it hyper focuses on me, and it's just amazing. So anyways, I am excited to dive into this episode, as I am for every episode, but there's a lot of things that I want to talk about with this one. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is just that I went to this beautiful event this past weekend, and it was from one of our girls, Hazel Luna of Hazel Luna Design. Her whole thing is like creating this art experience, not just for kids though, for adults as well. And it's really all about like using art as a form of like healing and a form of connection, and just allowing yourself to be free and to be a kid again, and to just explore yourself and navigate everything that you're going through by expressing that through art. And so I love that she's been hosting these creative garden dinner parties, and they're very intimate meetups that she's been hosting in her home. And I didn't get to catch the first one because I'm trying not to put too much on my plate, but I did make it out to this past weekend, and oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so worth it. It was like 3 hours, and it was kind of like a potluck style. There was six of us gals, including myself and Hazel, and we had a little bit of food and a little bit of drink, but then she also had just like these table setups for a little craft activity that she had planned for us, where we could like Mod Podge these little vases, pour some rocks in, stick on some pressed flowers. And we also created these affirmation sticks with like popsicle sticks, where we wrote our affirmations on there and stuck a little flower on top of it. And you guys, if you don't know already, like I grew up very, very creative. That's really the start of my story. I grew up in a very creative household. I love being creative. And if I'm going to take you back for a second, Book of Bijou kind of was like the culmination of all these little like facets of my life, right? And it really lent itself to all the things that I had done previously. Like I had sold jewelry for one, because I feel like just the way that you present yourself in your fashion sense is a great way to be creative. But also I would do like DIY stuff and put it up on YouTube. I still have my personal YouTube channel if you want to check it out and check out some of the DIYs that I've done in the past. But being a mom of now 3, and then having these businesses, and then having had the 9-to-5 for a while, it was a lot to juggle that I often did not have time or create time for me to just sit down and craft and just be in peace and in calm and in quiet and in serenity and just focused on creating for the sake of creating. So that's what I really, really loved. The fact that it wasn't just called the creative garden, like we actually went there and created something, and we journaled and did affirmations and we just connected with each other, and it was so beautiful. And I will say, like, some of the prompts that she gave us they were great prompts in terms of like, it was like, what are you wanting to step into? What do you want to lean more into? What do you want to welcome more of into your life? And for me, I feel like I'm constantly in this mindset of forward thinking, right? And like, what do I want to build and who do I want to become and who am I envisioning my future self as? And I'm going to be stepping into her now. So all of those prompts that she was giving us, like, I felt like those are kind of just like prompts that I have daily in my life. So what I kind of leaned into during the event was to not even think really about the future and to just literally sit and enjoy the moments, because I'm always just going and doing, and that's kind of just in my nature. And like I said, I haven't had the time to carve out just the time to be creative and to not like think about like what is the end goal, but to just enjoy the process. So I really leaned into that and I loved it so much. And I took the longest doing my craft because I was telling them, I was like, I love doing this and I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to sit and just focus on a craft is. So I'm going to take my time, and I did, and it was amazing. So I feel like that is what I decided, like subconsciously decided to welcome more of into my life. The girls are actually on spring break this week. So originally I was going to like get some kind of membership somewhere where they can play all day and then I'll just bring my laptop. But we're preparing to go to Hawaii in a couple of weeks. So I was like, you know what? We're going to save the money. We don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a membership for 1 week. You guys can figure it out. But since they were home, I was just so inspired by the creative garden night that I just set up a whole like creative craft table and I gave them free reign. I just like, normally I kind of hold on to some craft things so that we can save it for future use, but I kind of just brought everything out and I said, just do whatever you want to do, just get creative. And it's so freeing to kind of remove those limitations from yourself, from your family, from whatever it is that you're doing. And we brought out all the craft materials again today in case they wanted to continue doing their work. But also, even after they were done painting, there was some leftover paint on the plate. So I decided to just sit there and paint myself. I decided, you know what, I'm going to take my time with lunch today. I'm not going to rush into the next thing. And I see paint and I want to paint, and I'm going to give myself the time and space to do it because your girl is self-employed. Okay, I don't have a 9-to-5 to report back to, and I feel like I've been going so hard these past few weeks, like trying to keep up with the growth and with everything that we're doing and with all of the moving parts, that I haven't even really fully taken advantage of the fact that I really am in charge of my time and that I can do as I please and take a break when I want. And I do feel like I give myself breaks, but not always in the most intentional way and not always without a limit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll give myself a break where I'm like, okay, go ahead and just take this next 20 minutes to just sit in peace and quiet and journal. But I don't usually say, go ahead and just do whatever you want for however long you want. But that's what I did when I was painting. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to paint. I'm going to paint a couple trees, and however long it takes me, that's how long it's going to take me. And then when I'm done, then I'll go ahead and go back to work and do all the things. And I think that's so important for us to just be able to have those moments where we are creating some kind of semblance of a balance in life, right? Where we're not always going so hard, but we are carving out things that just bring us back to who we innately are. And like, how do we just enjoy those little moments, right? How do we allow ourselves to be more present in the day-to-day and with the little things and just enjoy all of that? So shout out to Hazel for being just sweetest person, and for encouraging everyone to step into their creativity, and romanticizing life is something that she loves to say, which I love to hear. And the fact that she's just all about this kind of like cozy vibe and aesthetic, and really just allowing yourself to surrender to it all. So I think she allowed to pull more of that feminine energy out of me, which is really, really appreciated. Okay, but now we're gonna flip the script, okay? Because now we're gonna talk about strategy, because I love both worlds. So we're gonna dive into both. I did my painting. I did that. It filled my cup. It fueled me for these next few hours before all the babies are home. So that might be confusing because I said the girls were home this week, but their grandpa just picks them up around lunch. So I have these next few hours to myself to get some things done. So that's what we're going to be doing. One of the things that I want to speak about is continuing going down like this goal of speaking, right? And landing my 10K, my first 10K speaking gig. Haven't done it yet. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I promise I will let you know when it happens. But one thing that I did, I went through my calendar for the next 2 months, and I literally blocked out an hour every single week to just focus solely on speaking things, right? Am I pitching myself to different speaking engagements? Am I nurturing relationships with those that book for speaking engagements? Am I creating some kind of content that continues to position me as an experienced and professional speaker? Am I updating my website? So a single hour every single week. I didn't want to overcommit because I know that I could have a tendency to do that. And with so much going on, I just want to make sure that I'm touching this topic every single week. So for now, an hour a week, that will suffice for me. Because I was getting to a point where I was telling people, and I can hear myself telling people, I just don't have the time. Like, I'm sitting on all these leads and I haven't had the time to just like reach out to them. But again, I've said this to so many people, you need to have, what are your core pillars? What are the goals that you're trying to reach at the end of your journey? And are you taking the steps to reach those goals? And I realized that I was not. Even though I'm sitting on all of this information, right, with speaking, and who could potentially book me in the future, I wasn't actually taking the time to do anything about it. And I want to make sure that I am. So even if it's just an hour a week, I know that the small moments and the small movements, those compound over time, and they help you to gain traction and to make things happen. So I don't ever underestimate how powerful those small actions can be. So I did that. I was actually also, well, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I changed my call times from 1 hour to 30 minutes so that if I do have multiple calls in one day, I can be on the call for 30 minutes and then take the next 30 minutes to do whatever it is that I said I was going to do for the person that I just spoke with. So carving out some time to actually take care of the administrative work that goes along with all these calls that I'm having. That is another thing that I went ahead and did to update my calendar. I was kind of thinking, like, do I want to have like call days and non-call days? And I chatted with someone who did that recently with her schedule, and she loves it. But I'm kind of still on the fence. So if that is kind of the schedule that you bring on, like if you're a person that has a lot of calls, but you've decided to just have strictly call days and strictly days where you don't take calls and you're focusing on all the back end things, let me know how it's working for you. I would love to hear. Obviously, I'm just going to stick with my schedule right now. And I think that's kind of an important note for everyone. We can't just like keep switching up the strategy like every couple of days. Whenever you implement a strategy, you have to give it some time to see if it's actually working for you or not. Because if you're not giving yourself the time to test it, then you don't know. And you can be really kind of selling yourself short on whatever transformation that strategy could have given you had you allowed it time to flourish. So I'm going to stick with the strategy that I have now, where I'm limiting myself to 1, maybe 2 calls a day, not even every day. I have blocked out the beginning and ends of my months so that I can focus on going through my checklist and making sure I'm good with everything. I'm paying my team. I am keeping my own finances updated. I am updating my trip log app that keeps track of all of my mileage. I'm going and updating my charts that has all of our data in terms of like the events that we hosted and how well they did and how many people registered and how many people of those that registered actually converted into members. So I want to make sure that I have all of those KPIs moving forward so that I can continue to make informed decisions with how we're building this community. Okay. Still sticking on the speaking topic, another thing that I did, I wish I remembered what time I started this because I don't want to go off too long. But for those of my girls that are listening to this and that are also really pursuing speaking professionally, if you listen to podcasts, I highly, highly, highly recommend Unforgettable Presentations with Mark Brown and Darren LaCroix. I love those two as much as I love, you know, being able to like push out women-owned things and where women are leading. This podcast is so good. And I've taken so many golden nuggets from just in terms of like, how are you nurturing the relationship with the event organizers? How are you speaking to speaker bureaus? If you're trying to get on a speaker bureau, like what are the tips to do that? And what are they looking for in terms of if they are deciding on bringing a professional speaker on board? It is my goal to end up being on a notable speaker bureau so that they are kind of taking the load off of my plate and helping me get booked. So that is definitely a goal. So I was absolutely paying attention to that episode with Jennifer Lear. It was episode 292. I wrote a note to myself because I wanted to share that with you, but she works with a speaker bureau and she was sharing all of these incredible insights. So one of the things that I'm going to do in my hour of speaking work today that I blocked out for myself today is making little tweaks to my website so that it is more event organizer booker friendly. So that is making sure I have some kind of video up. Right now it just says demo reel coming soon. But I've realized that that can kind of speak to like, oh, maybe she's new in the game because she doesn't actually have one. So I want to make sure I switch that out ASAP and actually have a video. I might link it over to the one that I was telling you guys about that Shanna did for me from the Galentine's event that I spoke to in February. I loved that reel. Maybe I'll link the one that I got from the Speaker Lab that I don't love, or maybe I'll just end up creating one myself. But definitely having something linked, I'm going to be doing. And then also another small change that I'm going to be making to my website is readjusting the testimonials. So I have multiple testimonials, but then one of them is kind of like highlighted as like the main testimonial. And one thing that I took away from the Unforgettable Presentations episode with Jennifer was she was saying, don't just speak about yourself, like speak about the transformation, speak about like how people are responding to you speaking at these events. And I went back to my website after I looked at that, after I listened to that podcast episode, and I realized that the highlighted testimonial that I have on there, it's a great testimonial, but it really speaks to me as a person, and it didn't really speak to how did they react to my actual keynote. So I was looking at my other testimonials and I said, okay, this one is so much better because it speaks to like, oh, like I walked away with so much clarity and blah, blah, blah. And we want to be able to share with the event organizer, like what does their audience or their employees or whoever it is that you're speaking to, what do they get to walk away with from the event if they were to hire me, right? Where it's not just focused on me and who I am as a person and me being a badass or whatever. It's what is the transformation that the attendees get. Okay. And then kind of building on that, I've solidified the facts that I will be speaking at a big event in September in Las Vegas, which is really exciting. So if you're on our email list, you've probably already seen that. It is going to be for Ati's BU Brands Live Summit that she hosts annually. And I connected with Ati last year at crystals, the other crystals she is made for a more event, and we just like hit it off. She's amazing, and I've kind of seen her past events, and they are beautiful. So if you are in the Las Vegas area or wanting to come and hang out in October and fly out there with me, it's going to be a 3-day event, and I'm going to be facilitating, moderating the community panel, where we're bringing on other incredible people that are also building beautiful communities. So I'm so excited for that. So head over to our website if you're interested in that, and do it before the 16th, because you can get a discount for your early bird tickets if you get it by the 16th. Just use code earlybird. Okay, so check that out. I would love for you guys to come hang out and be a part of the event. It's going to be a beautiful event. So I'm really looking forward to that. And honestly, the fact that it's in September, like that just, I feel like gives me even more motivation to get my book ready by September. But at the same time, I haven't been doing what I said I was going to do in terms of, if I'm going to be working in the middle of the night, at least 30 minutes of that time has to be focused on my book. And I think that's just because like this past week and a half, I feel like I keep seeing this, so it's probably like this past few months, it's just been so crazy with everything that we're doing. And I feel like I'm behind on a lot of it. So I'm constantly trying to like get other things done. And I want to almost take away the pressure of the book and focus on the things that are a little bit more pressing in terms of like the timelines that I'm wanting to meet with these things. Because of course, as we expand, I need to make sure that we have all the things in place to support the team that we're bringing on, so that we can continue expanding and doing it in a way that we're not compromising the integrity of our platform, or diminishing the value that our members are getting out of it. So I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, I want to definitely continue working on the book, but I think just me even allowing myself the permission to say, hey, it's okay if you don't do what you initially wanted to do. And I think I got confirmation from another podcast that was talking about, you know, the top 1% of women leaders, like one of their traits is to be able to constantly like prioritize and make quick decisions. Actually, maybe I heard this somewhere else, but it was about the top 1% of leaders and how they're the most effective and productive. And it is that skill of being able to constantly reprioritize based on like what's most needed in this moment, and not focusing on just busy work just for the sake of like doing it, right? Or just because like you said that you would work every day on it for 30 minutes when your 30 minutes is absolutely needed somewhere else for that day or for that week. And it's okay to have to reprioritize. So I'm giving myself the grace with that. Ideally, I would love to launch the book by September, but if it doesn't happen, it's not going to be the end of the world. And it doesn't mean that I'm not working on it. It just means that there are other pressing priorities that I decided to pour my time and energy into. And I'm trusting my intuition and deciding which direction I need to pour my energy to. So that's the update on that. But if I can get it done by September, that would be amazing. We're hosting our Bay Area Summit in September. I'm going to be a part of another summit in September, and it's just my birthday month, so that is the goal. All right, so let me see. I have some notes. I feel like I've been talking for a while, so I want to see what exactly last thing that I want to mention. I'm going to dive into speaking a little bit more and then mindsets, because I did get a couple of things actually. So there is a potential that I might be bringing on another paid speaking engagement, which I'm really excited about. But at the same time, it is someone that supported me for a past events. And so if she ends up not having the budget to do it, I want to be able to support her anyway. And I feel like even without all the details yet, I feel like it is going to be a really aligned event for me to just come speak at and give me again, continue to build my credibility. So one of the strategies that I was putting in place that I've shared with you is to do a free speaking engagement every single month. But I want to be mindful of who those speaking engagements are with. And I want to make sure I'm doing it with integrity and there's like an actual reason behind me offering my time for free. So when she first reached out to me, my initial reaction was I don't sponsor speaking events. But at the same time, I kind of dove into it a little bit more. And something that I've been sharing a lot with our girls that have been attending like the planning event sponsors workshop and working session is it really is a two-way street, and you want to make sure you're nurturing these relationships. So I want to make sure I can do that for her. So I will keep you updated on that. It's a brand new conversation, so I'm not sure which way that'll go, but that'll be exciting to just have another big event in the books, even if that just means that I'm just putting in the reps. So we'll see what that looks like. But I did also get invited to be part of a virtual summit that is going live in April, at the end of April or the beginning of May. I hate that I can't think of the date off the top of my head, but it is the 5-star community summit, and it is all virtual, and it's bringing in a bunch of community leaders. So if anyone is looking to build community, definitely be a part of this summit. Send me a DM and I'll send you the link to come and join. But I did a beautiful interview with the founder, Anna, and I also offered a 30-minute training to help you continue to build your own community. How do you even start that? Like, how do you keep the conversation going? How do you keep your members engaged? And then how do you nurture it so that the community starts to build itself? So that's the training that I offered. I'm super excited. But one thing that I realized is that I'm still very much in this place where I should not say yes as often as I do. I've definitely gotten better at saying no to a lot of things that don't align, but there are still those moments where I get excited about a lot of things and then I say yes to it. And then I'm like kicking myself afterwards because I'm feeling the stress and weight of it all, and I don't want that. So I am going to try to be better about it. That is the hope. I feel like I still thrive under pressure, but that doesn't mean that just because I can do it, like I should do that to myself. You know what I mean? So that is your reminder as well that you do not have to say yes to everything. There will be always opportunities that are coming your way, and you want to make sure that you're honoring your time and energy and giving yourself the time and space to be a little bit flexible, to have those moments where you can carve out peace and crafts and enjoy yourself, whatever it is that you like to do. Read a book, journal, meditate, go for a hike, whatever it is, carve that time out for yourself, because you are fully in control of your life and you get to decide what your new normal looks like. This is actually going to be one of the talks that I'm hoping to give in the future, but it's all about crafting your normal, and you get to decide what that normal looks like. Like for me, it's been normal for me to just be nonstop and back to back and having so many things on my plate, and really kind of taking like a Barney Stinson stance on this entrepreneurial world. You guys don't know who Barney Stinson is? Watch How I Met Your Mother. It's a great series. But Barney Stinson is this character in that series that basically thinks that everything is a challenge. And he's always wanting to rise to the challenge. It's kind of like an ego thing where it's like, I can do anything. So if you're going to challenge me, even if it's indirectly, like I'm going to take you up on that challenge and I'm going to knock it out of the park. And that's always been kind of my mindset. And I feel like I still carry that with me today in terms of like how I'm leading this business and like building everything that I'm building. But I know I also kind of need to take a step back from that. And it's okay to say no to the challenge. It's okay to say, you know what, not right now. And I feel like things are kind of like working out that way, where I've kind of said to myself, like, it's okay if I don't get my book launched by September. With our LA summit, I was chatting with Nikki and we were like, what is actually realistic? Like, do we want to keep pushing for August, or does it feel like very forced? And we ultimately decided, you know what, let's just like do a couple of more intimate events in the LA area first. And, you know, especially with her kind of like retransitioning after the LA fires and trying to get all settled and everything like that, I didn't want to put a lot of pressure on her plate. I didn't want to put a lot of pressure on my plate. So we decided to just aim for the beginning of 2026 and keep it where we do an LA summit beginning of second quarter, end of first quarter, and then keep our Bay Area summit in September. And so I want to be able to keep that calendar. And it was almost like, as much as I kind of knew that I wanted that, like my body knew that I wanted that, to kind of push it out and to not feel like I needed to do it in August, like for some reason I refused to say it out loud or accept it internally. But once we finally said it out loud, it felt like such a weight off my shoulders. So it's my goal to really like recognize when I'm having those feelings and to be okay with it and to vocalize it with the people that are in my circle so that we can all really support each other, and so that I can get kind of the validation and permission slip from them that it's okay. It's okay if it's a lot, and it's okay if I need more time, because we do need that sometimes. And as strong as I feel like I am a very strong-willed person and I'm like hyper self-aware, but at the same time, like we still need that support from other people in those moments. And that's what makes community so special. So as much as I do love a good challenge, and I feel like I more often than not rise to the challenge, that doesn't mean that I should keep challenging myself that I have in the past. But yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways to look at it. And I'm looking at my notes right now. And I'm just going to flip the script really quick, because not looking at it from that perspective of me having to challenge myself to everything, but I want to challenge you if you feel like you are often catching yourself in like a comparison mindset. I want to challenge you to reframe the way that you are thinking of things, that you are looking at things, especially when you are comparing yourself to someone that is quote unquote ahead of the game, ahead of you, more established than you, more accomplished than you, whatever it is that you're telling yourself. Stop looking at like, I wish I could be her, like that could never be me, like what, you know, I don't know, whatever it is that your limiting belief is. And instead shift your perspective into it, allowing it to be kind of more of a challenge, right? Like that gets to be me, right? Instead of like, why not me? Say that gets to be me. Like follow all these people that are doing the things that you're doing and say, I get to be her in the future, right? Like that's what my life is going to look like in the future. Allow that to fuel your fire as opposed to diminish your life. And let that really like encourage you to keep pushing, to keep showing up, to keep doing the work. There are going to be so many people that tell you you can't do things, but that's just a reflection of them not being able to do it, right? And I've seen this kind of a couple of times in these past couple of weeks where I have something on my heart of something that I want to accomplish. And I've had someone say like, oh, that's really hard. Or like, oh, like, you're not really going to be able to do that. Like, it's like too hard to do that. But they're saying that to you because that's their experience, right? That's their lived experience. But that doesn't dictate what your experience is going to be. So that shouldn't prevent you from even trying. Right? So I take it as like, again, Barney Stinson mode activated, where if you're telling me that it's really hard and that I can't do it, I'm like, challenge accepted, like you haven't seen me work yet. And I'm gonna put like magician on my resume or something, because I truly feel like I've been able to make magic happen in the past couple of years. And I also truly feel like we are just getting started. So I'm excited to see what happens. And I feel like it's really cool to be able to push myself in those moments where it's like, okay, this is supposedly really hard, but I haven't tried it. So I want to try it. And I want to allow myself to learn and get better, right? I want to allow myself to at least have the experience of trying. And so for any of you that's listening to this, that's tuning in, that feels stuck, and you're not sure like which direction to go, maybe you feel like you don't have clarity, you're not sure what your purpose is, allow yourself the chance to just try new things. I don't care like what your initial conceptions are about it, what the narrative has been shared by like everyone else that has tried it. Have you tried it? Have you given yourself the opportunity to experience it for yourself and to create your own perspective? Or are you letting everyone else dictate your life and kind of nudge you in this direction and that direction based on their shared experiences or their lived experiences? Are you cutting yourself out of that deal and not even allowing yourself to have your own experiences? And is that what's keeping you stagnant? Because this world is a beautiful, magical place, and there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many places to learn and so many people to get connected to, but you have to be willing to put yourself into the room. You have to be willing to take the next step. And I promise you, it gets easier the more that you do it, and you don't have to know what you're doing to do it. You learn to do the thing by doing it. I don't care how many books you read on a certain topic, it will never compare to the knowledge that you get by actually doing the thing. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was a great little kind of like encouragement, pep talk to leave you guys off on. I love doing this podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am, and I'm excited to keep you updated for week 6. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will chat with you all next week.